I know you don't know what to watch on TV. I'm going to tell you. I would like to tell you. Welcome to the video store, and welcome to episode 1 of the TV Critic here on Quiet Corner TV. I'm your host, where each week we're going to go over 4 separate shows. 1 newer comedy, 1 newer drama, 1 throwback show 25 plus years old, and 1 overrated show. Stick around. The first show we're going to talk about is a sitcom. It's on HBO Max, and it just actually ended. But a lot of people haven't seen it, and even fewer people have heard about it. It's called The Righteous Gemstones. And I don't understand why, because this show is really, really good. The show is about a world-famous televangelist and his family and all the things that they get into. It stars John Goodman, Danny McBride, Adam Devine, Edie Patterson, and my favorite character, and becoming one of my favorite actors, Walt Goggins, who plays a character named Baby Billy Freeman. It's perfect. He was born to play this guy. Now, I should tell you right away that there's a lot of full frontal male nudity in this show, and while it's done in a real funny way, it just is a lot sometimes, and you certainly don't expect it when it's coming, but when they do it, it does make you laugh, but there's quite a bit. I guess this is the other side of the coin to all the full frontal female nudity that we've seen in TV and movies that I've loved and appreciated and absolutely want more of. I'm looking at you, Phoebe Cates in Fast Times. Yeah, I'm still looking. So after you get past that, and it's not really difficult to do, because it is funny, you're going to find that this show is one of those sitcoms that actually tries to be a little bit more than a sitcom and succeeds. And by that I mean it does show some pretty heavy stuff. There's murder in the show, there's kidnapping in the show, extortion, the whole 9 yards. But everything that's done is done in a real funny way. So while you're sometimes watching some really horrible things, you're actually laughing most of the time while you're doing it. The show's fantastic. Definitely check out The Righteous Gemstones on HBO Max. Now the next show we're going to talk about is called The Waterfront. It's on Netflix, and it's one of their top 10 shows right now. Now, I have to admit, when I first saw the preview for this show, I thought it was going to suck. Well, it sucks. This show is horrible. It is a poor man's Ozark, and I really wish it wasn't, because I root for summer shows. They're usually created by people who haven't really had a show take off yet, and they're usually starring people who are working actors, grinding it out, and trying to make a living and looking for that big break. But this show is absolute dog shit. It's about this wealthy fishing family who has money problems. They are millions in debt, but yet the economy of the town is really based on them being open. So it's a pretty tricky situation, but they decide that the best way to pay back all the debts they have is naturally to start running drugs with the cartel. I would tell you who's in the show, but it doesn't matter because it's not good, and you shouldn't be watching it. I know it's probably going to get renewed, and good for whoever those actors are. Because after this, it's over. Now, if you got a friend that tells you to watch it, you got to not be friends with them anymore. Because they don't know shows. I know shows. This show, not a good show. Now let's talk about the throwback show. This is a show that you can find somewhere online for cheap, but most of the time free. And this week we're talking about one of my all-time favorites, The Larry Sanders Show. It's an old HBO show starring Gary Shandling, Rip Torn, Jeffrey Tambor, and it's got a bunch of other actors that you know and a bunch of other celebrities that come in and make appearances. Now this show you can watch for free on YouTube or you can watch it on HBO Max. It's about Gary Shandling's time as a writer for the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and it's basically the Larry Sanders Show. He plays a character named Larry Sanders, Rip Torn plays a character named Artie, who's his producer, and Jeffrey Tambor is the sidekick a la Ed McMahon. They show all the things that go on behind the scenes, how the actors really act in the dressing rooms, who's hitting on who, all the Hollywood stuff. It's got some really, really great recurring characters by some actors that you know, like Janeane Garofalo or Jeremy Piven, also known as the sorest winner in Hollywood. Now the show runs from the mid to late 90s. So if you're around my age, you're going to watch this show again. You're going to get a bit of nostalgia because they're going to be talking about movies you saw as a kid, and they're going to be bringing out actors that were really prominent when we were kids. Now for that alone, it's worth watching it, but the show is just genuinely funny. It still holds up today. Yes, there are some references to things that were very 90s. The O.J. Simpson trial, Lorena Bobbitt. These jokes do make their way onto the screen. But it's a show about a late night show of that time. You have to expect that. These actors are awesome. The writing is awesome. Gary Shandling is at his absolute best in this show. And it's a little sad even when you watch it because Gary Shandling has passed, and it would have been exciting to see what the last chapter would have been for a guy like Gary Shandling, who did, of course, the Gary Shandling Show, which was great, but not nearly as great as The Larry Sanders Show, I totally recommend going on YouTube or HBO and watching The Larry Sanders Show. Now's the time for our overrated show. And here I'm going to lose some of you, but that's okay, because this show is absolutely overrated. I'm not saying it's not okay or even good, it's just overrated. And that show is FX's The Bear. Now, the show stars Jeremy Allen White as a character named Carmy. He comes back to Chicago after working in five-star restaurants to take over his brother's sandwich shop, or his family's sandwich shop, after his brother kills himself. And when he gets there, he realizes that the kitchen is in complete disarray, the store is not running well, and he's faced with a mountain of bills and debt from his late brother. The show bills itself as a psychological comedy drama, which is just a fancy way of saying that they want you to think really hard about the jokes they wrote, but ultimately not really laugh. And I understand that a lot of writers and a lot of comedians would rather be considered smart than funny. And if they're in a room and they're telling jokes to 100 people, they would rather say something super smart and have 5 people laugh than say a slightly dumbed down version of that same joke and have 65 people laugh. And that's really the case with The Bear. Now, the dramatic side of this show is actually pretty good. They do a nice job writing it and the actors convey it properly. And while I say the acting's good, I mean it. But it's also part of the problem. Jeremy Allen White is playing the same character I saw in Shameless, the same character I saw when he was younger playing bit parts on Law & Order, the same character I saw in Iron Claw, the Kerry Von Erich movie, where he played a wrestler who kills himself, and now it's the same thing. It is Lip Gallagher who can julienne a carrot, and I don't care. Now, they do say this is a pretty accurate description of what it's like to work in a Michelin star kitchen with things going on and all the craziness, but I don't give a shit. If I wanted to go work in a kitchen, I'd go work in a kitchen. I want to see somebody coming in and smashing somebody's face into a grill because they don't like their burger. That's what I'm looking for. But you don't get that with The Bear. You get, oh, people are dead. Oh, people aren't coming in. Oh, I'm going to change the menu every day and be really fancy and everyone will love it and the critics will come in. Nobody cares. Some people care, and that bothers me. Now, I will say the bright spot for me was seeing the recurring character of Uncle, played by the legend Oliver Platt. He's Carmy's dad's best friend, and he's the main financier of the restaurant. But even with Oliver Platt, it's still not enough to get me to watch the show consistently. It's just boring. I don't understand the hype. I don't understand why people love it. And honestly, I think it's overrated. So, The Bear. I hate you, but keep making shows, keep cashing checks. People are going to watch it. I don't have to like everything, but would I recommend to watch The Bear? I wouldn't. So that's it for this week's episode. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and let us know. I'm your host from the video store, the TV Critic, only on Quiet Corner TV.